Meanwhile, Washington out for recess.
Yes, senators leaving Washington last night for their month-long August recess after failing to reach a deal to advance dozens of President Trump's nominees.
Madeline Rivera joining us live from Washington with the very latest. Good morning, Maddie.
Good morning. The Senate held a rare weekend session Saturday, hoping they can come up with a deal to advance some of President Trump's nominees. Senate Democrats wanted the White House to unfreeze federal funding to pass a small batch of the president's non-controversial nominees. But the president thought Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer was going too far. He told Republicans not to accept the offer, saying it is political extortion by any other name. Tells Schumer, who is under tremendous political pressure from within his own party, the radical left lunatics, to go to hell. Senate Majority Leader John Thune says while there were many offers made between him and Schumer, Democrats were too dug in.
This is historic and unprecedented obstruction when it comes to allowing someone who has been elected by the people of this country in a fairly significant, I would argue, mandate, an election, to get their person in place to do the jobs that the American people elected that president, President Trump, to do.
Schumer, meantime, says it's the president who blew up the negotiations.
Trump threw in the towel, sent Republicans home, and was unable to do the basic work of negotiating. Is this the art of the deal? Posture? Cajole? Stamp your feet and then give up? This says it all. Donald Trump tried to bully us, go around us, threaten us, call us names, but he got nothing.
The Senate ended up holding rapid-fire votes on 7 nominees before leaving Washington until September. Republicans now say they might consider changing Senate rules to speed up the pace of confirmations. Charlie, Katie, and Griff.
Thanks, Maddie.
Very much. I think it's really important the audience understands that this type of obstruction that's happening right now is absolutely unprecedented, what Democrats have done. And the president has tried to get the Senate to stay in session to push through the nominees for a number of open positions, undersecretaries, ambassadorships around the world for important posts. And yet here they are leaving without those confirmations, hundreds of them waiting around after being, confirmed and after being voted out of the Senate committees. I mean, the level of obstruction here by the Democrats is absolutely outrageous.
It's a great point, Katie, because you saw Leader Thune there with that graph, if our viewers could see in the back of Maddie's report, and that graph showed that 0 of nominees have been confirmed through a voice vote, whereas we've never had a president who, at the end of the day, you can obstruct and challenge, and that's what Democrats are saying, stand up and fight Trump, but you can't obstruct the government process. I mean, this is confirmation of nominees that need to continue our government functioning.
And of course, the thing to remember about this is that all of the tools that Democrats are using to obstruct here are customs that are designed by the Senate. They're not part of the Constitution. There are no constitutional rules that they're invoking here. They're just basic customs that are agreed upon by the United States Senate. And when you have a United States Senate that has the track record that it has, you start to wonder why we still have these customs and why the Senate should just operate like the House. And I say that as somebody who has long admired the Senate, but they're a failure.
Well, that's why they're considering about changing the rules, excuse me, which wouldn't happen until after they return, but we'll see where that goes.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.